Okay, nice to meet you. 朱志志面，我是 HS 黄 and 是韩国人。That's or I can say in Chinese and then let me speak in English. And today, actually, we really appreciate the organizer and also the Mr. Chair of Hongnita because we got really the great honor to present our solution. We will take the two sessions. One will be taken by myself, presenting the ultra clear LSR silicons. And the second one is UV curing technology for the innovative solution. So by the Bill Dong, who is regional marketing manager for the Asia. Okay, so I think I got a very heavy responsibility for my presentation because after lunch and already easy to get sleep. So I try to be energetic to speak up. And second one is morning session. We had a lot of good story from the plastics. But this session and next session is going to be the silicone elastomer, which is silicone rubbers. And I just wonder how many our audience who know the silicone elastomers and any experience. Can you raise your hand? Okay, good. Yeah, Hong Kong is advanced the cities and country, so I believe. And anybody who knows the silicone optics for lighting? And have you ever heard about the silicone optics for lighting or the? Oh, okay, so maybe 5% of the audience who are very expert. So, okay, so I will try to slow down my presentation, but try to deliver a very clear message. And one thing is the silicon, and second one is lighting industry, technology, and third one is let me try to bring the global movement together with the silicon optics for the lighting. So I have been involved in this position for now more like 5 years. And I have been focusing on the Europe, especially Western Europe, like Germany or France or the England, and also the US market, because we believe those industry will leave a lot of technologies when it comes to silicon optics. But now I also found a lot of inquiry from the Hong Kong and also the South China and the Japan, Korea as well. So I believe this is going to be a very interesting subject. Okay, so silicone elastomer, so-called silicone rubbers, and yeah, we will present the solution for lighting and transparent applications. Okay, let me show the very typical articles made of plastics. It's very rigid. And it's very good and very cost effective. And the global player located in Germany, they made the same geometry made of silicons, but it's very soft. But you can see the clarity so different because this geometry is so difficult when it comes to molding technology because different wall thickness and also sometimes undercut. I think I found a lot of the audience from the molding technology. So they may be the expert more than me, so I should be careful. Okay, let me move to the first slide. I think Momentive maybe similar to what the Marina of Coverstro explained. We just changed the name since 2006, if I recall correctly. We were used to be GE Bayer Silicon and GE Toshiba Silicon, and also GE silicons in the States. But the GE merged all silicon exports in the market, and they spin off the silicon business unit in 2006. And we changed the name, but we still keep our legacy in terms of silicon. So if you have any inquiry about the silicon, just maybe reach out to us, especially Bill Dong. He is located in the Shanghai office, and I'm located in the Seoul. So a lot of very good story from the Seoul nowadays. So everybody knows the situation. So okay, so that The last remark is more like the center of R&D and the production sites. We have several locations globally, including Germany and Japan and US, India and Thailand and China. But today we will touch the topic for ultra clear, which is used for the lighting application. Our R&D center is more like from Japan and Germany because that is pure specialty the product we believe. This is kind of quick snapshot of what Momentive is. As I mentioned earlier, we just changed the name, but we keep the legacy and also technology since 1930s, and we were the first company to send the people on the moon, and that moon there is shoes made of silicones. Otherwise, there is some issue with flexibility. So anyway, the Momentive has 75 years experience and the technology for years because we are the one of leading the silicon players globally. So let me touch the application because I believe audience is from the university and also the industry and the OEM, Tier 1 and models. So I think especially the mainland China and Hong Kong, there are a lot of molded transparent applications made of plastic or silicones. The Momentive should be the one of the biggest players supplying the silicone for the application, such as like silicone case or the ear tip of Bluetooth or some consumer good applications. Because of high transparency and soft feeling, like rubbers and flexibility and no skin irritation, and including maybe FDA and others depending on the grade. This is what we have, and we found a lot of needs from the lighting industry since 2009 and 2008. We have been the leading position to develop a lot of solutions for the lighting nowadays. So as you know, nowadays like this is a good example, the one of lighting made by the LEDs. So previously conventional lighting, but nowadays a lot of LEDs outside, inside, so that the LED has different technology compared to conventional light source. It can generate the photon energy and also need a lot of design freedom. So previously, the glass was the materials to perform in that area, and then due to the LEDs, the polycarbonate or the PMMA should be the major player, primarily the players. But we believe because of LED, their technology has been changing to the high power LEDs, such as the COB, chip on board. I think the mainland China, the bunch of players there. So it can generate a higher heat, even though there is great technology from the sink. So that that can generate heat, which means maybe a lot of stress into the plastics, which can make the plastic yellow from the clarity. So we got a lot of serious inquiry from the outside Hong Kong and the mainland China, like Germany or the US. Because the silicone should be one of a good candidate because silicone has very strong heat and the UV resistance for years, and also the higher the design freedom for the very complex geometry. So now we cannot share a real case because there is NDA and the confidential information blocked by our customer, but we can say the global leading players already using the silicone optics. You can type the Google and you can find a lot of OEM using the silicone optics. Still the pre-early stage, but I can say that in the coming 3 years, maybe our lot of customer in Hong Kong and mainland China should be the major players to take the opportunity. Okay, this is what we have been doing since 2008. We start from one very interesting project from the Costar, which is German, the automotive customer, to make the camera lens sensor, you can easily find that one in the like a Benz or luxurious car. There is a kind of tool devices to detect the like a lot of the things from the outside through the window screen shield. And we had one project, and we found a lot of inquiry in the coming years. That's the reason why I got assigned by the global project leader for this application together with Bill Dong. And 2009, we had quite a good understanding by having the apple-to-apple comparison in between the plastic and the silicones. We will touch that topic later on. So as you can see, a lot of LED TVs and also camera flash lenses. So LED TV itself, like LG and other players in Asia, when it comes to using like a silicon lens for that LED as a primary optics, they are using our materials mainly. So at the time that we had a 100% market share, and when it comes to 2011, this is a different model, but we have been spec in the like a Samsung Galaxy phone for years as flash lenses. So we had been supplying our silicon the materials for their lens, and first did a good case in the US for the outdoor lighting and also the automotive lightings. Okay, so I think when it comes to silicon, for the lighting as moldable the optics, I think Momentive should be the first player in this market. Let me quickly touch the formulation or chemical stuff. So I understood a lot of experts from the university. So let me just using the one slide to explain why silicone has a differentiation compared to plastic. This is very common the chart to show our durability because we have a different bonding energy in the backbone. The CC, which is a thermoplastic, they has a 30% lower than our silicon backbone. This is from the academic papers. So that can create a lot of issues because our backbone has a higher bonding energy, which means the very stable when it comes to harsh condition. So that's one of the reasons why we can keep the high clarity over time in the harsh condition. And at the same time, our structure is different so that we can give the more flexibility at the high temperature and low temperature at the same time. So this is a simple comparison among the primary, the transparent materials, including the PC, PMMA, and glass, versus our materials. So this is our material 7000 series. This is nomenclature, the brand name. So we would like to divide into the three categories. The one is optical clarity, which is very important for the lighting application. Second one is durability, because nowadays the LED has a long lifespan. So they should have a compatible component for making the light engine together with lighting application. So durability is very important. And the last one is design freedom, because design freedom can give the more light output with very complex geometry. So three things, as you can see, compared to PC and PMMA, the transmission at the 2 millimeter thickness, the 94%. I think our materials is the highest one compared to any other polymers or the materials. And also the RB number is quite similar to the PMMA, which can give the better optical property compared to even the PC. PC has one problem when it comes to automotive application because of lower the RB number. I don't want to touch the topic today because RB number is more like related to the optic designer. So I think today is more like injection molding technology. So I don't want to touch the topic. The durability, the heat resistance and UV resistance is very strong, even compared to I think heat resistance, in between the PC PMMA, the PC is a bit better, but UV PMMA is a bit better, but compared to the materials, the silicone has much better. So because silicone is more like close to the glass, in terms of formulation. And design freedom, compared to glass, we have very strong features to make the very complex geometry and the flexibility. So that is very important, the features when it comes to LED lighting. Okay, this is optical property. I'm not sure whether our audience can understand this one or not, but just let me quickly explain. This is maybe the German transmission at the 2 millimeter thickness. So the higher transmission, the better, which means higher clarity. And the x-axis is more like a wavelength. So wavelengths, the wire wavelengths, in between the 400 and 700 is more like a visible wavelengths we can see by eyes. So that is very important for the lighting application. So as you can see, the PMMA has been known as a very good material for the lighting because of good optical property. But as you can see, our solution is much wider, the range of wavelengths with higher transmission, which is very important for the transparent application. So each silicon player has different fluctuation, but I believe Momentive has very strong transmission over the wavelength. Okay, this is heat resistance. We completed this kind of test under the 150 degrees C for the 6,480 hours. We put our cousin like PMMA and PC. Because one of our family is from the buyer. So we put the buyer materials, we put the ebony materials, we are not put the cheap materials because we would like to have the apple-to-apple comparison. So as you can see, after the 150 degrees Celsius for the 6,480 hours from the oven, you can see the differentiation in between the silicon, our materials, and the PC and plastic, PMMA. Even the COP, which is high heat resistance polymers, but it can also change the color. So the bottom, this is a graph up to the 6,480 hours. The higher, the better. But as you can see, like a brown color, which are the thermoplastic, it's going down dramatically after the 500 hours. But our materials can keep the same properties. So we found that one could be one of our advantage for that application at the time. So our assumption has been pretty much matched with what customer needs nowadays. I don't want to touch this topic because this is an inquiry from the SAE, which is one of regulation from the US market for automotive. And we put the polycarbonate, but then uncoated. And we put our silicon because the silicon doesn't need coating materials to coat on the surface of the part. And as you can see, this is accumulated energy, so that you can see our material is very stable in terms of haze percent over time, over energy. But as you can see, the uncoated PC, it has been increasing. So totally different durability when it comes to UV. So this is very important for the LED lighting applications. This is molding technology. So I think most of customers are very familiar with. So blue color is cold one, cold space, cold part. The pink is more like a hot area. So a lot of audience from the plastic industry. So I believe they are familiar with plastic technology. So you just can consider the other way around. We have liquid silicones, and we don't have any hopper, but we have a stirring mixer to mix our silicones. And then there is mold. Mold should be very cold, very hot. But the plastic, the mold is very cold. So different technology. And so I believe UV technology, the build-on can touch this topic as well, because UV technology is much advanced than the LS technology the Momentive has been developing. Okay, this is a simple comparison when it comes to real part of optics. This is done by the German application engineers. So this is part dimension, like diameter and thickness and volume, like this one. It's very thick and very heavy and a bit kind of complex geometry. So they made a kind of simple comparison for the reference to the customers. This is not accurate, but just an overview, so that the customer can understand what's the difference in between the plastic and the silicone in terms of processing. So as you can see, the silicone doesn't need cooling time, only the curing time. So silicone normally that kind of part, maybe the 50% of time may be necessary for making the part. And also the filling pressure is not much and the holding pressure not much. So that means the machine size should be much smaller than the plastics. So, but depending on the design, depending on the capacity, cavities. So this is just a simple comparison for the customer reference. We have a function to provide more detailed information when the customer share the drawing, so that we can give the more accurate maybe the comparison when it comes to the near project. This is how precise the molded parts we can make from. This is a simple comparison. One of injection molding, the institute located in Germany, named IKV in the Aachen. So I think a lot of people know that one. So IKV did the comparison in between the PMMA and the silicones. VMQ is academic the name for the silicones. We put the different grade they put, and then they put into the Lauji the nano structure of mold. There is some broken part. They would like to see how the silicone can transfer the cavity surface exactly. So they found a lot of perfect transfer in terms of surface. So compared to PMMA or PC. So this is very important for the design freedom, because a lot of molding technology we have, but the plastic has a limitation in terms of copying the surface of cavity, but the silicone has no limit. This is a product line. So beside the quality, we would like to emphasize our product offerings in the wide range of hardness. So maybe our audience is very familiar with hardness like type D, which is a plastic hardness. We have very soft materials and we also have very rigid materials. So when it comes to like a new project here which has a lot of issue with plastic, please let us know and we can try to provide our information as much as we can. And the other important thing is that in the US market, the UL94, because that is very important for the US market for the outdoor lighting. So UL94, I think Momentive is the first company which has V1 and 5VA, which is flame retardant grade, similar to like Bayer. But Bayer is based on the PC. Okay, so this is kind of a success story. First one is I'm pleased to share this information with our audience. This is a cathode, which is an Italian customer. I believe this is number 1 or number 2 optic manufacturer globally, supplying the optic part to the OEM and lighting customers globally. So they have a product line like PC and PMMA, but they work with Momentive for years, and then they expand their product line, also including the silicones. So that is a real application, and recently they apply the complex the surface texture together with the silicones, which cannot be possible with the plastics. So they know how to use the silicone for the light output. So that is one of cases. And the other one is a US automotive customer. We cannot disclose because the customer don't want to. But the point is the customer using the silicone optics for the light guide in the US market for the ambient lighting, like door handrail and others, because good color mixing with LEDs and also the good flexibility. So they has been using the plastic for years. So plastic should be the major materials, but there are a lot of limitation when it comes to specific the car model. So that's the reason why they start using our materials for the car model. So I think they will have more the application expansion in the coming years with new cars. And the Costar, again, as I mentioned earlier, like a German automotive customer, they use our material for the camera sensor as like a transparent pad. So that is very important because they need no color change against the UV, and also the very good, very low hardness like a gel. And at the same time, there is no bonding against the glass, but that device only. So we developed that one in the 2008 and 9. So we has been having the increased order from the Europe. I believe that may be possible in the Asian market as well, because we have very smart automotive players in the market. So I think this may be the last page or before the last page. So Holla, which is a very famous name. So we had a lot of collaboration with industry players for years. That is the actual part. You can check in the Google because the Holla and the Elmet announced their technology together with Momentive collaboration. So that is typical one. Normally the LED using the LED chip and then the silicon primary lens, and they put the second lens on the top of primary lens, which can damage on the efficiency, light output, but they made the lens directly attached to the LEDs made of our solution. So this is one of good examples. It's more like combination of molding technology and the material technology together. So if you have any further inquiry for this one, and we can share the papers, but still the papers is only the German, so that's the problem. Okay, so this should be my last page. So again, a lot of different applications we have. So please don't hesitate. The silicon consideration. So please let us know if you have any inquiry when it comes to the problem with your existing materials, such as glass or the thermoplastics. Okay, this is my last pages, and thank you. And please reach out to us whenever you have any question. Thank you.